Hello, welcome back to another episode of A Little Atypical. My name is Leja, you can call me Lay. Today is going to be a little bit different than what I'm used to because honestly I kind of just wanted this to be a quick chat and just talk about something that I observed. Basically, I had a thought about why slow progress and slow growth is so uncomfortable. Okay, so this is gonna sound a bit contradictory, but bear with me. Right now, it's like I feel so joyful about the slowness, but at the same time, the slowness of my life is making me uncomfortable. And then I just had a thought after reading a book. So the book I just read, it is my, I think, 34th book of the year so far. And it's called Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. It was a really cute book. It was a young adult novel. I'm just going to describe the premise of the book. So basically, the book is about a girl who was blackmailed into doing things on her to-do list. That's the essential premise of the storyline. Okay? I had this thought because it seems like there are so many examples of like turbulent growth. That's just the term I'm going to use. I don't know if that's actually a term, but that's the best way I can describe it. You know, when your life is turbulent, there's added pressure. So whether something happened, in this case it was extreme, like being blackmailed, that is a lot of pressure, but also things like when you go through a breakup or you lose your friends or you lose a friend group, if you're moving and you're starting somewhere new, if you started a new job, you get where I'm going with this. The reason why I had this thought is because I was like, has there ever been a show or a movie or a book that highlighted slow growth? Because I don't think I've ever seen it. I could be wrong, because I feel like slow growth is a concept, like slow living is a concept in nonfiction books. But I think a lot of society, we get inspiration from entertainment. But I don't think many forms of entertainment have addressed slow growth, because slow growth is very mundane. But I don't think mundane is necessarily a bad thing. Just like I don't think boring is a bad thing. I think that people crave things, and what one person might call boring, quote unquote, another person might call peaceful. And I just thought about how there's no real perspective of slow growth, and maybe that's why the feeling of slow growth is a lot more uncomfortable, at least in my opinion, in comparison to more turbulent things. With turbulent growth, I feel like you act more on instinct. By that I mean, because a lot of times like there's just this added thing on you, this rush, this adrenaline rush comes to you, or this added pressure. The decision making in turbulent growth, like a turbulent time of growth, is just a lot different, because I think with slow growth, the difference is you have to commit and recommit every single day about who you want to be, and constantly remind yourself and make that decision daily to contribute to the life you want. Whereas if it's like a turbulent thing, it's like, no, I gotta follow my gut. I just gotta try this. I don't need the space to think about it. But with slow growth, it's so much more observational, because it's so interesting. I do think I'm still growing, but in another point of my life of growing. And then I think about more of like that fast-paced, turbulent times of my life. And I think about how I approach them, how I approach things at this moment, and kind of how you can't approach these different types of growth the same way. And I was listening to a YouTuber this morning. It just kind of confirmed what I wanted to talk about today and just put more things into perspective, because basically her name is Alyssa Gogan. I hope I'm saying her name right. But anyway, so she did a YouTube video and I didn't get to finish it, because what I like to do is put on motivational content when I'm exercising. It was towards the end of my workout where I was just using my stepper, so I didn't get to finish the video, but she did say something that stuck to me. It was about the feeling of being on time, because I think what the video was leaning more into was like trusting where you're at in life, because she does say something and she's quoting another person. It was like, where you stand, one foot has to be towards gratitude while the other towards desire. And I found that so interesting. It was just like, I spoke about timing before and trusting everything is going on time. But even when on some levels I know like I'm supposed to be in this moment, that sometimes the slowness of your life is not something failing or things not working out, but it could simply be preparation and you just can't see it right now. And with the difference, both of them have to contribute with, as long as you're doing something is going to happen, and it doesn't matter. Like, growth will happen regardless. When we do that, like, I think when we enter a growth period that's turbulent, it's meant to push you because you were holding yourself back. And then when you're in a slow growth period, it's because you were taking things so fast that you weren't absorbing the lessons you were meant to learn. I do think both types of growth serves a purpose. And this is just your reminder that each type of growth, it's meaningful in its own way, and you are growing on time. You are where you're meant to be. Does that mean that you can't be more? Of course not. I just think we need to allow ourselves to be within the moment, even amidst so much uncertainty. Because I feel like that's been my latest themes lately, of learning about uncertainty, learning about growth, learning about lessons and the give and take and patience. And that's just the timing I'm on right now, that I feel like I'm meant to set myself up to understand things that I wouldn't be able to in such a turbulent pace of growth. So I'm actually really grateful for the moment I'm having now. And honestly, that's all I wanted to say today. This is a very casual conversation type episode, but we are still doing a card pull. And this time I'm using the Moonology deck, because usually I do use the animal deck, but I got tired of using it. On top of that, what I really wanted to use was my self-care oracle card deck, and I can't find my oracle cards. I don't know where it disappeared to. I guess that's a sign that I need to be in my decluttering era, because I do not know where they went. But anyways, here's the card pull. The card I pulled for the collective says, take time to breathe out, discementing moon. This card is actually a card I have never personally got for myself. I was actually shocked for how well it resonated with this episode. And I also feel like it's interesting, and you'll hear why, but anyways. The intensity of the full moon has abated, and what are we left with? That's what this card is asking you. It suggests the situation you're asking about has now peaked, and it's time for you to regroup and learn from your experiences rather than blindly forging ahead. Have faith that what is happening is for the best. Try to accept the way things are now and give yourself and others time out to relax. Breathe. We can't be on all the time. If you feel like you've hit an obstacle or even failed in some way, now is the time to reflect on how to do things differently next time. Be honest with yourself if you feel bad about your current situation, and then remind yourself life goes in cycles. Attune to the moon. I am where I am, and it's okay. Additional meanings for this card. You should know where you stand either now or very soon. You need to take some time out for your own good. It's time for you to share your wisdom and experience with someone else. Avoid falling into a slump. The teaching. The disseminating moon is the first moon phase after the explosion of energy that comes with the full moon. No matter when you pick this card, it suggests you're at a more tranquil point in the life cycle of whatever situation you're asking about. This is not the ideal time to start something new. A disseminating moon is the time to breathe out. Give yourself some time off and think about what has passed. I think that was a beautiful message that related more directly to slow growth because as I was rambling, that's what I was mostly trying to talk about. The two different phases of growth need to be approached differently. Turbulent growth, as I like to phrase it, it is about your decision making, your instincts. There's more pressure on you. It could lead to different things, but that doesn't devalue slow growth either, where slow growth is more observational, light. It allows you time to think of not what decisions to make. I mean, yes, sometimes, but also your decision making process. So you can make more effective decisions by not only having more insight about yourself, about what is right for you, who you are, to make better choices, but also knowing how your process for decision making is. Because for some people, maybe talking it out works better for them. It makes them have new solutions. For other people, it may be writing things down. And maybe for others, they need something visual to inspire their thought process and decision on it, you know? And I do think with my slow living, something I did a lot differently is setting up my systems for, I guess, looking at each time. And the way my reflection systems are so much more effective. And it just feels like I'm building my toolbox for when things get turbulent. And I appreciate both types of growth, and we need both types of growth. To end off, what am I grateful for? This one is going to sound a little silly, but right now it's Sims free play, because I've been on a vibe where I want to shop less, even though I am a pretty cautious spender. The thing that I know I spend the most money on is books, because I know in some ways I am in search of something, and also I'm trying to look at work so I can figure out writing styles and stuff like that, like little things that I think would help me better as a writer, about how people allow stories to unfold, and being very observational and in things like their world building, character building, and how they let details of their characters come out to the reader. I just find all that fascinating. So I've been using Sims free play. So when I want to buy something, I buy something in the game. And it may sound a bit silly, but I do think it's helping me in the sense of not spending so much while still healing my inner child. So if you ever want to slow down on consumerism and your spending, this might be like a bandage solution. Or if you get addicted to things very quickly and you overindulge in screen time, like this may be not a good idea for you. But for me, where I pick it up occasionally, it's not like I spend all day doing it, but playing Sims has been really, really helpful. I know this episode is a bit shorter than what I usually create, and it's a lot less factual, but I think things that come from our observations are still equally as valuable as stuff that has research on it. Because if we don't look at things, if we don't observe things and question things, then we won't open new ideas and open new ways of being. So, yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm hoping to figure out a better way to create throughout the summer. I'm still really behind on my show notes, but I've been recording podcasts in advance. Like this one is literally being recorded on June 20th because of I'm about to be in July reset mode. And by the time this comes out, it's actually going to be July 1st. So yeah, hopefully more content to come. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, my blog, and it would mean the world to me if you would follow the podcast, rate the podcast. I'm not sure how the review thing works, but if you can, if you're on YouTube and want to leave a comment, it could be anything random. Like, it could literally be what books you like or what are you reading currently, because even though I'm on a book ban, if I can find it in audiobook format, I'm going to read it one way or another. So yeah, but physical books I can't buy no more right now because I have so much that I want to catch up. But yeah, so I will hopefully have something new for y'all. Have a good day, evening, or night, and bye.